Hey everyone, it's Kai from Cool Collectibles back again for another review. This time it's the Bandai Tamashii Nations S.H.Figuarts Inspector Chan from Police Story, otherwise known as Gingchat Gusi in Cantonese. And this has been a long-awaited figure, probably the first that I've seen at least, with the Jackie Chan likeness, and overall it is a pretty damn awesome figure. There are a few things I don't like about it, and I'll get to that shortly. But before I do that, thanks again to Julio over on Facebook, as well as Justin from Justin's Collection. Both of them gave me the same tip last night in repairing, or at least doing a tiny repair on the figure, where I thought I had snapped one of the wrist pegs. But they both indicated it's a common thing with S.H.Figuarts figures where the wrist peg sort of separates between itself, and so all I had to do was pretty much use a pair of pliers and get them out, and pretty much just snap the two halves of the wrist peg back together again, and that worked out just beautifully. So now I can get the figure back into this pose, and I don't have to go through Amazon to get a refund. So thanks again to Julio and to Justin. But onto the figure now. Comes with a pretty small box. I mean, these figures are, I guess, the typical 1/12 scale figures, so the boxes aren't too big like some of the other larger figures. You get the nice cover art there with the Chinese on the side, a few more pictures of the character, some posing options there. So overall, all nice and collector friendly. The figure itself comes with this, let me just get him out the way to focus, comes with the umbrella from one of the famous scenes in the movie. It's nicely painted, I guess, nothing too special about it. Just be careful you don't snap the silver tip there, so that's a good option to pose up with. The face sculpts are probably the highlight. This is the sculpt that comes default out of the box, which is the stoic face. The likeness is really good. I would say the paint application though is a bit haphazard, if you want to call it that. You can see from the chin there where there's a definite change in shade there, where they've sort of added the additional detail across the face, and then it stops under the chin there where you've got that orange line. Sort of starts to blend around the cheeks, but even then not that great. So I'm not sure exactly what technology they've used, but I guess the likeness itself in that front on likeness is pretty damn good. Then you get a nice sort of smiling face, if that's focusing. So I like that. And then you get the, where'd it go, down here. Get a sort of grimacing face. So plenty of options for how you want to display them in the various action scenes and fight scenes and so on from the movie. If they had the, if I still had the Chun-Li S.H.Figuarts figure, I'd work out a way to put this head sculpt on that figure, because he did do that cameo in the Street Fighter 2 movie with Van Damme, I think it was. So that would have been a nice little throwback to that movie. You also get a whole bunch of hands, as you would expect with this figure. So you get the typical sort of relaxed hands here. That's I think that's the umbrella holding hand. You get the gun holding hands. So this one's with the left hand. I've already got the right hand on with the gun. You get the fists, of course. So nothing too fancy with the paint application or anything like that. It's all sort of fairly plain skin color. And then you get these sort of relaxed hands on the other side, and the palming hand for the gun. So lots of options for hands. And as you can see, I've got him in the gun holding hand and that palming hand on the left, and the pistol there. So you just need to be careful in how you change out the wrists and change out the accessories. I would typically use a bit of hot water, almost boiling water, and just quickly dip the joint in. That definitely softens up the plastic and makes the exchange much easier. But I'll go through other aspects of what I needed to do with that boiling water just in a second. Just let me get this stuff out the way and I'll give you guys a closer look. Hold on. Alright, so here is the figure up close. You can see most of it is just this green plastic for his jumpsuit here, so nothing too much to write home about. But the biggest issue I have with the figure is the shoulder joint here. So you can see it's got a ball peg first here that you can sort of see, especially when you do the butterfly action there. So there is a joint inside, and this is a floating piece that can actually come off. But what I found was that straight out of the box, both sides were not pegged in properly, and so the arms kept falling off and this floating piece kept falling out. So what I had to do was pretty much dip the whole damn figure in boiling water to soften up the joint that is inside, take out this floating piece and insert the arm straight in there first. There's two joints, so there's first the ball joint that is just in there, and on the other side of that ball joint is another peg that you then need to stick into a hole in the body. And that did take a bit of force to do, to get that to get in, especially with even with some of the hot water. Then once you do that, I had to get this floating piece and put that in boiling water to soften up the plastic quite a lot. And then I essentially threaded it through from the outside and pushed it back in. And I had to do that on both sides. But now the arms are pretty secure and they won't come out. The reason why they were coming out was the bottom joint of that second joint there is always coming out from inside the body. But now it stays in place, and for the most part it doesn't look too bad. I guess the separation of the shoulder here is probably the thing that doesn't look that great in the stoic pose. So you can't even really, at least in mine, you can sort of get the arm back in a sort of downward relaxed position, but it sort of reveals that ball joint there and breaks up that sculpt, so not ideal. But I guess a figure like this is really intended for those action dynamic poses. So I'm definitely going to have it in that sort of forward gun posing, gun shooting pose that I had before. But the range of motion here for the arms, I guess you can get it quite a far distance out there on that floating joint there. You have the top part of the torso here that allows that tilt, and then you have this sort of floating sort of inner piece at the bottom here. When you sort of look at it all like that, it does look like the torso is a bit too long in proportions, but I guess once you get it in some of the action poses, it sort of hides that effect a bit. But I guess they did that just to get the ability to articulate. You can have the waist rotation, and there's quite a bit of ab crunch there as well. They do have a warning about this piece and, you know, damaging the paint and so on, so just be careful there. In terms of the legs, you get quite a bit of range of motion, as you would expect. Doesn't go back too far. And then you get the double jointed knees that only give you about 90 degrees really, so not too much there. For the elbows, you get a bit of a bend there, so not even the typical nice double jointed elbow there. And then I do like the feet, where you get the nice rocking and the ankle rocker action, so you can get him into some pretty deep kung fu poses and so on. So overall, not too bad, apart from the shoulders. And as I was saying with how I had to do a repair, I'm not going to try and pull that arm, that wrist off again. But you know, each one has the little hole for the peg to go in. I would suggest before you even try pulling one of those off to swap it out, definitely put it in some hot water to soften that up, and then pull the hand out. And that should minimize any risk of breaking or separating the wrist joint that I did. This one was okay, so no issue there. But luckily, once you fix it all up again, there's no issue with that wrist. So you can do the rotation and the up and down tilt. So that's pretty much it for articulation and the figure itself. I'll get him back into the pose and then give you a quick side-by-side with the other Bruce Lee S.H.Figuarts figures just for a final comparison. Hold on. Alright, so here is the figure side-by-side with the old Bruce Lee figures that I also have from the S.H.Figuarts series. And they do look pretty good next to each other, but as you can see, the scale is probably slightly off. I think Jackie Chan's only, I don't know, 2 or 3 centimeters taller than Bruce Lee was in real life, and the scale is probably just a bit more than that. So that's unfortunate, but they do look pretty good, and this is probably what my display is going to be like on the cabinet shelf. So luckily, at least they still look pretty good. It would have been nice if the Bruce Lee figures were just slightly taller and bigger, but I guess they were released several years ago, so I guess they've done what they could. Hopefully they do release more Jackie Chan figures now that they've gone through all the effort to get his likeness pretty much spot on. So hopefully we get some more characters from his various classic movies, Drunken Master, even, what was his American movie, that Rush Hour one. That'd be pretty awesome too. So I'll definitely collect any that they release for Jackie Chan. But that's pretty much it for this S.H.Figuarts figure. Hopefully you like that quick look and can give the video a like and subscribe. I do have a few more things coming over the next couple of months, a few more Lego, and hopefully the Hot Toys Han Solo from Return of the Jedi comes soon as well. So hopefully you can subscribe and stay tuned for all of that. And until then, thanks again, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Cheers. Bye.